Good morning, I'm Dr. Karen Mikowski, aka Butterfly Karen. Welcome. Okay, so welcome to today's, it's the start of the, I feel like it's the final leg of the perpetrator's movement pattern. So I'm going to be following the corridor of that. I'm starting here in New River. Let me just, before I start anything, let me just quickly log and date the time for the report. So it is Saturday the 6th of June 2026, and I'm going to clock in at 9:44 a.m. So, okay, what is that? 9. Okay. So, ooh la la. So 6th of June, 6, 2026. Oh, the 6 is there. Clocking in at 9:44 a.m. Okay, just make sure that's going to be CCMP90 or 91. I'll check obviously when I get back. But why is this important? I'm starting here in New River. Let me just grab my book, my report book, my Nancy Guthrie report book. I'm going to be obviously doing some highlighting today because I'm following the pattern I've been working closely on. So anybody interested in Nancy Guthrie's report book, it is published now. It's ready, you can buy it on sale. Now, highlighter. So I would say almost every remote viewing, I've always got at least 3 or 4 times now, closer than you think, and I kept feeling like, does that mean closer than you think is more closer to home? Oh, let me just turn the air conditioning on, sorry. I'll try and keep it. Oh, it's really hot today. So here was me thinking closer to home. You know, I'm thinking, is that to do with the, you know, the perpetrator, or is that to do with closer to, you know, her sort of home life? But after I left Sedona, I was coming down the I-17, which would make sense because if you remember one of the most recent one I did in Sedona, the last real-time remote viewing, I was discussing Utah, connections to Utah. Now that would make sense because if there was connections to Utah, or if they were moving constantly throughout the state, it's possible, and I mentioned trucking, so it's possible we could be dealing with some over-the-road drivers, truckers. Now between New River right up to Flagstaff, Sedona more specifically, because that's where I kind of got pulled there to. There is, and obviously in the report I was mentioning Pilot, or like loves those big truckers service stations where you can park up, you can park your trucks, you can park them in, I guess, for long periods of time as well. So as I was coming back down, I was fueling up. I'm like, hang on a minute, that's strange. I've just come off the road. I can see Loves. I'm on the highway. Now I was feeling guided, like, hang on, it's feeling heavy. I feel like something's materializing. So I was following the energy. And then as I was coming off the highway to come off, I went into the Pilot instead, which is it's on the South Stagecoach Trail, which is also known as South Stagecoach Road. And I was really shocked to see the Stagecoach Trail. I went, hang on, I've just what the hell? So obviously I went with it. So on that same road you have Chevron, you have again, you have the Pilot, you have the truckers parking, you have Loves up the road, and then it's all on this Stagecoach Trail road. I'm like, okay, this is feeling very interconnected now. So obviously I took some footage and everything, and then as I was continuing to drive back north to where I live in New River, all of a sudden I'm like, hang on a minute, there's a lookout point, because there is a lookout by it's like a rest area, and there's bathrooms there. A lot of truckers park up there too. I'm like, hang on a minute, I know I was picking up on a lookout point, so I know that was emphasized in a lot of my remote viewing sessions. So I got out and I looked around, and that's when I realized, hang on a minute, there's pasture land at the bottom of there. There's flat land, pasture land. I can see air-shaped cabins and everything. I can see, this is if you were to come here, I mean, it's a busy road like all night long, but you could still discard stuff. You could discard stuff there publicly, and it wouldn't really be, you could just put it in the public trash and it would be taken away, anything like that. So I was focusing on this, and then I was like, hang on a minute, there's a shooting range up the road. So now I'm like, okay, in Sedona, I was on that trail, the snake trail, and now I'm feeling like, and I heard the live shooting, which kind of shocked me because I didn't think it would be that close to the public hiking with live rounds and things. And then I'm like, but there is the same sort of thing here, but obviously on a larger scale. There is a shooting range here, and people go here. There's ATVs and everything, like the ATV track. Everything that I'd pretty much been mentioning in the whole of the investigations from the start. Campgrounds, cabins, every single thing I'd mentioned in all of the reports, I was feeling like I'm now in a corridor of where these people, these perpetrators could be moving through, maybe quite regularly. So, as I'm just going to quickly focus on, I had CCMP86. So, this is obviously the first one. Again, interstate movement. Again, this is in the report book. I focused on that straight away because now I felt like, well, yeah, I feel like, because every time I keep tapping into the perpetrators, they're constantly moving. So now I'm traveling constantly through the state, south of Tucson, around Tucson, the mountains, the campgrounds. It's all, I mean, I was doing a lot of grid searches all the way up to the 77 to the 79. Once I hit the 77 and 79 corridor, I knew now I was heading north, because that's what I was doing, heading north back home. Phoenix, north of Phoenix. I was heading north, the back roads out of Dodge, basically. So until I was able to probably get onto the I-10, which would then take me to, and you would go obviously through Florence and you turn off at the I-10, but I believe there is another 357 road. I know there's another road you can come off and still get onto the I-10 that way too, you know, north of Tucson. So once you get hit at I-10, you're going to hit the I-17, and then it's all the way north straight, pretty much. And you're going to you're going to go through Flagstaff, you're going to go through Sedona, past Sedona, and if you want to stop in Sedona too. And then again, you can, obviously, then you're going north towards Utah or Colorado or New Mexico. So now I did get straight away, there was a connection to New Mexico. And obviously in the last one I got Utah. So again, we are in that sort of corridor. So I feel like, and then I heard there was family connections possibly to Utah. So we may be dealing with an over-the-road driver, truck driver, that may live in Utah, or that's where his family is. So he goes back to Utah regularly before coming back on the road. It's not unusual for truckers to commit crimes on the road. It's been a big thing in America for decades. So you want to look at sort of like real crime and serial killers and everything. So that's not unusual. Now, again, geographical transition theories, obviously, because it's not just, we are surrounded by national parks and wooden terrain, desert terrain and everything. So it doesn't really matter where we go. You know, there's here, New River alone, the washes are huge. They're obviously very big. So right now I'm actually on the I-17 frontage road here in New River. I'm going to be going up, believe it or not. I'm going to go right up this frontage road. It's going to hopefully bring me to the trail, which is North Stagecoach Road. I'm like, so this North Stagecoach Road goes right all the way up to Cordis Lakes to the South Stagecoach Road. It's like I feel like I'm in the corridor now. Every time I was focused on this, I'm like, what relevance is this? And then I kept hearing Nancy saying, closer than you think. Even when I was stood at the lookout point, the first thing I heard her saying was, I've been here all along. So I'm wondering if she's been in the area where I am, why she was connected to my energy, because I was probably closest to her at that point in, geographically. So now these perpetrators could be over the road truckers, or even contractor and construction workers or anything like that. Again, you can move, you know, if they live out state, they're going to be moving around the state. And I don't know why everybody was so focused on Mexico, but you don't know if them being over the road truckers, you don't know if they go into Mexico, bring supplies through the border and all the way up through interstate, basically up into through Arizona, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, depending on which route they do. But then it wouldn't be unusual for them to park the truck up and then use a secondary vehicle, because I also felt like they were changing vehicles. It was very strange. So it's almost like, and now I was seeing a picture of what's the relevance of this lookout point. It could be a marker point where they stop off, use the bathroom, take a break, park up the truck, park up the car, get into the truck, whatever, or drop off at New Black Canyon City, which I'm going to after here, because I'm going to be discussing Black Canyon City when I get there. But right now I'm just starting in New River and I'm following the trail, because it's almost like if you were a construction worker, there's construction going on in Black Canyon City, a lot of construction. There's a big campground, a private RV campground being built there and everything. And there is also already a private RV park in Black Canyon City. There's private campgrounds here, RV parks here in New River. So up this whole corridor, you're talking on the I-17, there's a lot of stuff it covers. So I'm feeling like they have close connections, or they're constantly stopping in these areas. And these would be stop-off points. So I'll discuss more about Black Canyon when I get there, because I want to sit there and I want to tap in. Now, once I get up to this trail, this track here on the frontage, I'm going all the way up basically to, let me just get my map. And I'm mentioning these for a reason, because these are where I feel like law enforcement may need to follow this trail too, if you want to catch the perpetrators. Now, obviously, when I get to Black Canyon, there is these areas right now, there's a Shell station. So to come off the road, to come off the I-17 to come on this road specifically, maybe, you know, maybe they were like, okay, there's a lot of forest, there's a lot of built up terrain, a lot of cactus, a lot of off the road. There's private properties, but you could definitely use this as a bit of a dumping ground. There's a few little parks here as well. So if you're aware of this area, you would possibly take advantage, you know, you could. But if you had people who live in this area too that they're acquainted with, there's a lot of shady types of people in this area in New River. So I'm not saying they're all, you know, they're involved, just, you know, you don't know who knows who. And I always felt there was a connection, an organised crime connection anyway. So, and a lot of these people that move up here have been involved in organised crime, so I wouldn't be surprised. And like I said, there's private campgrounds here. So, now New River, okay, New River. So let me just get to the frontage road. Now this is going to take me also to, now I've just come from, when you come up to, like I've just come off New River Road and turned right off Roadrunner, at the Roadrunner Bar restaurant. But if you're coming off the I-17 to come into New River, onto New River Road, you would turn left to come on, and then you would literally be on the frontage road. So you don't know if they tried to take a sort of like weird shortcut or anything. I'm just trying to go with the energy right now. I'm just trying to follow a pattern. So yeah, so again, I'll just give you the address of obviously Roadrunner Restaurant and Saloon. Now the frontage road, I-17 frontage road, I'm going up, right up to all the way up. It's the Black Canyon Highway, North Black Canyon Highway frontage road. If you keep going up, you now I'm on, I'll be tapping into, I'll be connecting to North Old Stage Road. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So let me keep going up, and then obviously I'm going to keep going up, and then I'm going to come to New River Nature Reserve, and then there's FMX ramp. These look like parks. Now these are built up with a lot of quite sort of not intense forest terrain like I was showing you in the other videos, but built up. So these could be literal dropping off. You could create a shallow grave in these areas, in these sort of places. Straight in, straight on, dump and leave, and then the highway's right there, I-17. So and in the middle of the night, or actually early hours as well, you know, if you was on this road, I'm feeling like 8:18 a.m. when I kept seeing 8:18 and 7:11 constantly. These could be morning times that they arrived. So they may have arrived here in New River by 7:11, doing what they were doing after, because you think Tucson, they would have left Tucson, you're talking about 2 hours up that highway, you know, once to get off the I-10 and onto the 17. About a good 2 hours, depending on traffic, give yourself 2.5 hours. So she was abducted early hours. You don't know if they dumped her on this highway, so off this highway somewhere, and that's kind of how I feel like I'm following this weird trail. And then they would just get right back onto the highway, and then they would just, and then obviously I'm following the frequency pattern. So I want to just focus now on looking in New River Nature Reserve, and right next door is the I-17. So this is the built-up area. Then obviously I'm going to keep, I could follow this, I mean, then obviously it takes you, this track would take me onto North 35th Avenue to Old Stagecoach Road. Now if I can still drive on that ramp, if I can continue on that road, it looks more like a back road, but if I can continue on that, that's going to bring me into West Table Mesa Road. The range, the firing range is in Table Mesa. So this is why, and that also, if they were to follow that track too, if they was aware of it, that would take them straight back onto the I-17 further up. So this is where I'm going right now. So, and again, I'm literally, there's again potential staging areas that could be parking up trucks or anything. That could be anything. It could be where they're going to set up, what they're going to do when they get there, and there's organised movement. Obviously, yes, I need to highlight that organised movement. But the potential staging areas could also mean something inside the house. But remote wooded areas, which is where I'm going to right now. National parks. Well, this is a bit of a. Just turn it on. This particular park I'm going to right now. It's a smaller one, but it is the New River Nature Reserve. So these are part of the parks, these state parks. Geographical transitions. So again, just transitioning geographically constantly off the road, coming off the road. See, these could be maintenance workers, you know, that was involved, gardeners, handymen, who had routine access to her, obviously, which I kind of got in the first investigation anyway. Yeah, they would have to be familiar with their routines. So today, obviously, my core investigative site today, CCMP86, is interstate geographic movement theme. That's what I'm focusing on. So, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on pretty much since I've been not just connected to Nancy's frequency, but also the frequency of her perpetrator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you around, and then I'm going to let you follow the trail with me. I'm just pulling out of the New River Veterinary Hospital. I just want to park up there just for a moment to start this. So even right now we've got truckers coming right past me from my left. So big trucks can come down here. Let's just say that was, but I feel like they were using multiple vehicles. They may have been swapping vehicles en route, but they may have parked up a car or another vehicle somewhere else, and then just decided to move drive to where if there is a semi-truck involved or an truck driver, to go to a bit further north towards Corders Lakes to basically maybe transition over to the truck and then park up a car. Maybe the other driver, one of the perpetrators, drops the over-the-road truckie off at his truck, and then he just drives back wherever he goes, which could be towards construction sites or those areas where he may be working. So I'm thinking of all angles right now. So Wildcat Wash is to my right. Right there is the I-17 behind that wall. I'm still on the frontage road right now in New River. It's, and you know, right to the left of me right now, it's all just terrain, desert terrain, shrubbery. It's all, you know, you could just discard anything in here. Nobody really, apart from the animals, is going to really disturb it. So this is where the pavement ends. And again, this is another so right now I've stopped in the middle, literally, of a wash. So to both sides, that is literally a wash, a big wash. Let me just get onto the off-road. Okay, do my off-road setting for the sake of my fuel and my suspension. So again, right there to the left of me is the highway I-17. Here, if you did, there's so much, you could do a lot of just dumping here. A lot of people do dump all kinds of crap here, believe it or not, which is quite sad. But let's just say something happened to Nancy and they needed to get her out the vehicle. These sort of places would be the ideal places to just sort of find somewhere shallow enough to sort of dump her, but out of sight. I know it sounds awful, but this is why I think this area may need searching. And here, I can tell you right now, it is pitch black. You would know, if you knew this area just a little bit, or you would thought, oh, there's a frontage road, let me just take a look. This area is pitch black. I mean, there's houses up here and things like that, but they're not going to see anything. All it takes, because a lot of weird random people come into these areas anyway all the time. A lot of homeless people sort of come up this area too. And we try and sort of reside. But I'm just kind of, I want to just document. So here, let me show you properties, because there's a lot of like RVs, people sort of live in RVs up here. This is what you call sort of ranch area as well. So that's private property. Now I'm not sure exactly if any of this as I keep going north is private property or not. Stopped randomly, so I'm just not quite sure why. But here, like I say, there's so much terrain. This is private property to the right of me, obviously. I think the terrain is the county property. But again, ideal quick swift dumping ground. And if nobody's hiking these areas, or there's no sort of drone activity going on or anything like that, the only thing that's going to really get to anybody is probably animals. A lot more animal activity, but okay. Obviously now these roads get a bit narrow. I'm not quite sure. I'll just see exactly whereabouts on the map I am, because I don't want to accidentally go into people's private property, because you never know with the freaking New River. Okay, so I'm literally still on the frontage road, heading to the North Black Canyon Highway. North 35th Avenue, Old Stagecoach Road right now. Now, okay, what's this ahead? Willow Hill Ranch, okay. So I knew I was seeing ranches. I did see a ranch in some of the visuals. These could be just points of interest for off the marker points. I'm going to go a lot slower because there's horses to the right of me. I've been treated. Also, in Black Canyon City, there is free walking cows. I know that. I've experienced it because I've been having lunch at the pie restaurant, and basically a cow came right up to me. I wasn't thinking about that when I was down in Tucson, but now once I hit Black Canyon City, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, ooh. Free roaming cows. They actually have traffic light system for it as well, so to sort of let people be aware of there is cattle out here. So So again, even just here right now, the I-17 is still to my left. So this is an area to rule out for a possible grid search, a full, I would call it a grid search for a retrieval of a possible body. As a swift removal, drop off, and then continue moving your vehicle, keep going. You're not, again, at night or even early hours, I think February, it would probably still be dark nights, so around about 7, the sun may be coming up, if I remember correctly. But if they would hit this area around about 6:30 towards 7:11, it would still be dark enough. So ahead of me, there's just a random little cabin. Interesting. I mean, there's a lot of those little cabins there, but I'm not going to hyper focus on it. It's just interesting there. Now I clearly can't go beyond, because I was hoping that trail would take me further north onto the other stagecoach road, but it's not. It's that it's stopped. Oh, it looks like a little kid's playhouse. But this road I need to go around. So, which technically, if I'm correct, will bring me back onto, oh, very steep, strange road turn, but it will bring me back onto New River Road. So they may have had this, if they weren't completely familiar with this area, they may have thought, we'll just follow the road, we've got to get back out. They may have not come as far as this up this road though. So again, I'm just working on a hypothesis really. I'm going to keep going. And there's a lot of little cabins here. Interesting, a lot of little cabins. But these are on the private properties. So speed to get up. That's a long tight road. So beautifully, now you can see the I-17 highway, and that's towards Black Canyon City, which is obviously going to be taking me. Please tell me this isn't hang on a minute. Oh no, that's private property here. These roads are weird in New River. They're very weird. So that's construction right there. There's a construction house under construction right behind me. That was dead ahead. You don't know if it's part of the construction teams. I mean, look at that view right there. That's the I-17. So you'll be familiar, if you're working up here, working on construction sites, on these construction houses, you would know these roads enough to just be able to navigate them, put it that way. Oh, this is an interesting drop. Huh. So again, I feel like this area could be, I mean, I would probably want to get some drones up here, to be honest. If you could get some drone activity going on up in these areas that I'm covering on this corridor, this weird travel movement corridor, I think it would be worth, you may see something, you may come across a lot more. You could see a lot, I mean, if you get the drones low to the lower ground as well, you'd possibly be able to pick up on a lot of strange, obviously our foresters know what they're looking for when you're doing retrievals, but so there's some private property right there. I'm just going to keep moving around it. So that road's close to the left of me, and that just probably takes you into a trail. Obviously I'm not going to go down it, but no trespassing, so that's clearly private property. Residential area. So this is a residential area. Now here's your barbed wire. Obviously that's just barbed wire. So it's not saying that's an electric fence or anything, but was seeing a lot of that in the visuals, a lot of that sort of wire fencing. And again, there's a lot of places here with RVs and small little RV tracks, like RV parks that they have people living on their sites. So you don't know if these travelling construction workers, possibly over the road, you know, you don't know if they stay in these sort of areas, in these places in their RVs, because these are the types of people that they're not static. Perpetrators like we're dealing with Nancy's case, in my personal opinion, and even to an extent possible profiling opinion, they don't stay in one place too long at all. They like to move around and stay on the road. It's harder to track them down, which is the reason why I opted into following their frequencies, to follow their movement. And this is why I'm here now. This is the movements I feel like I'm following, their frequencies. And it's kind of been like that since I was connected to Nancy on the 7th. So now you can understand the vast sort of terrain even here in New River. Something stood out, but I'm going to need my binoculars for it. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me just grab my binoculars. Maybe nothing, but I just want to, I don't want to miss anything that I need to note. So, want to zone in on that area because it looks like could be a burn pit, burn pit or something like that, because that trail here where my car is, that would probably take you into that area, and just up there on the side of the hill. What caught my eye was, to be honest, just for the binoculars, it kind of looks like a burn patch. Now I'm not sure if that's to do with, sorry, wildfires or a man-made fire. So ring cameras, door cameras. So if you were looking, yeah, quite possibly, oh yeah, there is a ring camera on that, right at the front door as well. So that would see traffic passing this area. So if you were looking for a specific vehicle that's left Tucson, this is the corridor I want the investigators to focus on for the possible movements of the perpetrators. Because if you follow the corridor pattern, you can find cameras. To the little ranch next to me here right now, there's a camera literally facing me. So there's cameras here, and there's obviously security cameras in use. Beware of the dog. So these are the properties. You may, I don't know if there's, well, there's a guest house here, but I don't know if there's you don't know if a car, a specific vehicle that's on the radar was seen in this area. It wouldn't be hard. Wouldn't be. So there's a white Nissan. That's kind of broken down a little bit, but I'm looking for certain vehicles too. And again, just leaving this, coming back onto the West New River Road, is now going to take me back onto the I-17, which I'm taking you with me. So let's just say, for example, you were aware of this road. There's a lot of private property here on both sides of me right now. But if you were just aware of this because you maybe come into the area for work or anything like that, or you've got acquaintances in this area, you would know you could probably do a quick drop dump off and keep going, and you've got the I-17 to right next to you, so you can either go north and carry on going north if you were just leaving Tucson, or you could go back and turn south. But I can't imagine they went south again straight away. I feel like they were going north, and that's the way I'm following their routines. But I'm going to pull into the Shell service station because that track is just completely blocked off, even though it's blocked off, but it's just dirtied up my back window, and I really need to come flush down. So there's the road runner to the right of me, and again the I-17 frontage road is at the stop sign, you turn right. That's the way I went. So that's the one part of the New River starting point I've covered. There's storage right across the road, the RV storage, there's all sorts of storage sites here, right here to my right. These are where people camp and everything. So you've got camping grounds, off the grid camping grounds here. And then you never know if they needed to grab some, as they're leaving this area again, they may have used the Shell fuel station just to top up the fuel or anything, or use the bathroom, or grab some drinks. So I'm just going to quickly pull in here just to wipe down my window. And like I say, as I'm pulling in, you can already see these trucks parked up right there. You don't know if they were using these service stations to do the same thing. So one of them dropped them off at the truck, they keep going, and Bob's your uncle. It's not working. I just need some water. Okay, there we go. I'll just quickly use that one. Okay, right back. Now, let's just use another possible theory. Let's just say, for example, there was an electric vehicle involved. You've got your electric pumping charging stations right here. So, okay, so now we're going to get on the I-17. Fuel's just diabolical right now, as we know. So right now I am now turning onto the I-17 heading north. So I'm going to pull off at Basin. I believe the fire engines. I mean, you don't know if they took it to, you just don't know if they were aware of the shooting range that's there, where people go shooting. Again, we know one of them had a gun. We don't know if that's how the kind of crime they're involved in, gun crime or anything. Now, if you've got a range that's well known for hearing shots, you wanted to eliminate somebody and then dump them in the desert, it would be the ideal place, wouldn't it? Because you think, oh, shots, there's probably just somebody at the range, you know? I know it's late at night or it's early in the morning, but something to be aware of more than anything. And I feel like right now I feel like I'm leaving the stair. I feel like just being connected to this. Now right there beside me to the right, behind that wall, there's flat green land right there. So I was seeing patches of flat green pasture land and stuff in my visual, so that's just something to note. But yeah, I feel just connected. I feel like I'm trying to get out of Dodge, but I've got to discard a few things along the way. Evidence, backpack probably. I'm intrigued to, you know, the rest stop area, the rest area where people you know do stop. I'll be taking you there. You don't know if they left the bag, they left the Ozark backpack in that area, and nobody would think that, oh, someone, you know, one of the travellers, someone's left the bag. They'd probably just discard it for them, not think too much about it. Now, if that's something like that happened, and it was put in, lost in, I don't know, the county ranges, I don't know, in those areas maybe, if they there's like a lost and found section, they might want to just, if there's something like that, they put it into a lost and found room, or you might want to check that out if something like that exists at one of these rest areas where there's a lot of Table Mesa. Right, that's the one I wanted. So pulling onto Table Mesa again, this is where you would use a shooting range. So I'm just trying to show you how close it is to off the I-17. You don't need to go that far out for much at all to get back onto the I-17, which is a slight contrast to sort of Coronado and the Catalina, because you kind of got to, you know, there's a lot of traffic there, but you've got to go a bit further in. You've got to go quite far in to take a look. Like, for what I was feeling was, they may have been trying to find a discarding mission, whatever, but you don't know if they were trying to find the best place, but there was just too many people, too many cars. It wasn't private enough, but they needed to stop, not be static for too, like right there, right off the I-17, you've got people camping. Transient. So Mesa Road. So these are all just sort of, so there's no dumping. Just because there's like no dumping signs doesn't mean people don't dump. Now these people live off the grid. These are not just like random sort of people just camping like on sort of step. These people are actually camping. They probably live out here. A lot of the, okay, private primitive range, run risk. I want to turn around and just, I don't know if there's, you don't know if these caravans, these RVs that people are sleeping in, you don't know if this is how the perpetrators live. There's a U-Haul. I mean, this is like primitive camping, really. So those two U-Haul, interesting. There's nobody in them. They're just almost like dumped or packed up. Who's to say they're not using U-Hauls like that to move around in? Nobody would think anything at that point. So again, you keep going further up and it's all just, this is all sort of off the road, off the sort of grid. Camping in this area. And why do I feel like this is gonna, is that, oh no, the giant wash. That looks like there's a massive wash ahead of me at the top, north of here. So yeah, you just got random people camping. And that pretty much just goes all the way around. So this is a lot of, again, a lot of terrain here. Interesting. If you're aware of this and you've got random people just sort of, you don't know who these people are. Can I get back to the I-17 off this road? I'm not quite sure if I can or not. But if you look here, people are dumping stuff even though they're not supposed to. People don't follow those sort of rules, as we know. To the mountainside, like they kind of do with that snake trail. Pull into the car park. Fire pits. I just wanted to give you an idea of the sort of terrain and the tracks. So if you were to come off Table Mesa and you wanted to do some shooting out here. Oh, what is that? Looks like there's a big building right at the end back there. Let me have a look. Trying to do this without freaking people out who are living off the grid, you know. I don't want them to be thinking, who the hell's that? So So the I-17 is right in front of me, right ahead, I can see. Let me just take a look at my map, see what that building is, right at the top of here. Okay, where am I? Oh, it's some sort of business. What is that? I don't really know what that is. Well, let me zone in. I'm going to take a screenshot. I'll stick this in the report too. But this is pretty much where I am. It looks like some sort of business. Could be a plant business or I mean there's like water and all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know if there's I'll have to just research what's in that area. Okay, but beyond, there's nothing really beyond there, so I'm going to head back and I want to show you just, if you can give you a look of those, an idea of those weird, just two U-Haul truck just parked up like that. Like there's nobody in them. But that's what I'm saying, like staging areas, geographical staging areas, just using these places to park up, leave your vehicles, constantly changing vehicles. I mean, they're not very smart, but they may be smart enough to know, don't stay in one vehicle, change your vehicles along the way. I would, if I wanted to stay off the radar and not get caught. I'd be switching my vehicles and then I'll leave them, you know, I've had access to multiple vehicles. But if you're part of organised crime gangs and things like that, you're probably going to have access to vehicles. Let me just see if I'm on the right road. I was going to ask him if that was the range area, but he passed. He just went past. I mean, I'm assuming it is, because, but two of them. There's nobody in them. And then obviously you've got the caravans. They're just like parked there. It's almost like, okay, a bit interesting. Is there a U-Haul company missing two trucks, just out of curiosity? But I mean, this is, I've been intrigued to know who's staying in these places. People stay off the radar for a reason, don't they? Many reasons why people stay off the radar. So now I'm back on the I-17, so now I'm heading towards Black Canyon City, where I will be tapping in a bit more, see if there's anything else I can get, see if any more information's coming through. Start the real-time remote viewing session here. So if you was living off the grid and you was moving around, you're really not just that little campground alone, that little camping area. You would, if you needed to get out of Dodge fast, you could, you know, and you had a vehicle, you could just leave your, those they just look like they don't care if they're left there or not. It's weird. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Because the more I say about it, the more I'm going to feel like I'm being judgmental, and I'm not at all. It's just, that's off the grid. It's literally off the grid living. But, like, not in a glampy or anything like that. It's such a standard. It's just weird. It just feels like if I was well and truly off the grid staying off the grid, and I didn't really care about my possessions, because, you know, they're not exactly smart looking possessions, and they wouldn't be worth worrying about, put it that way. That's the best I can explain. But if you had a car parked there, you could just get in your car and move, get off the I-17 immediately, get out of Dodge, just in case. You know, it wouldn't hurt to have some drones. Just check this strange movement corridor that I'm on this whole route I'm going. I would start from kind of New River, all this way right to Carter's Lakes, where I'm going to be going. And now this morning I wanted to focus on going into the businesses on this route and speaking to the managers of the, okay, we've got possibly an accident, speaking to the managers about how long they keep the CCTV footage, because you can see all kinds of cars rolling past and rolling in and everything. So if you're looking for specific vehicles, these literal business and these, you know, these fuel stations, etc., they have plenty of CCTV footage inside and out. So, but as I was focused on which businesses, my guidance was like, no, you don't know who knows who. Don't be asking that. Not leave that to the authorities. Like, kind of, well, I was kind of like, why not? I was asking the question. It's like, you don't know who knows who, basically. And I understand how utterly corrupt and utterly criminally corrupt this state is. So you don't know who knows who. You don't know who's working for who. You don't know who was letting who stay where. You know, so. But I am going to mention the businesses and show the businesses. So should law enforcement or anybody have an interest in, I'll even send all this information to Savannah Guthrie's private investigator anyway. It might just pique his interest. But they can follow the movements and they can do that themselves. Be a bit safer for them. Especially with a bit of manpower behind them and a presence. Whereas, I'm not going to ignore warnings, put it that way. So now, exit 242, I'm coming up to the Chevron gas station, Black Canyon Ranch Resort, right? Here's Black Canyon Ranch Resort. You got Rock Springs. Even though I saw Spring Rock, I felt like it was spelled possibly backwards, but it's Rock Springs here, which I pulled up on the last one of the last ones. This is the area where everything started to feel like it was coming together. You've got, obviously, the outdoor park. There's all of the ATV trails and everything. So I was seeing it, I was hearing ATVs, I was seeing ATVs. So I may have already been closer to the area where the perpetrators, what they was aware of, what they were seeing. That's why I was getting so much information. It's because it would be part of their observations. Now we're entering Yavapai County, so we're now in a completely different county and a completely different legal zone, is it? Law enforcement zone. I mean, you know, police, they have their own different sort of county laws. Well, you know. Now, and again, everything's always everything is off the I-17. You don't have to go so far in. You don't have to drive too far. Everything's kind of right now at your disposal, really, if you think about it. You don't have to stay in one place too long or anything. Now I want you to focus on, so there's Rock Springs, and you've got obviously these restaurants because I've been to them myself. Guns and Ammo, obviously, so I'm seeing Guns and Ammo. You've got ranch here. These are your ranches. It's cattle ranch because this is where the cows roam in this area, roaming cows and everything. Now this is under construction. So just imagine, just a theory. This in place is well under construction. I mean cement construction and everything, right? This place here. It's the new RV place they're building. Creekette construction. So you don't know if one of the perpetrators is working on this construction. You've got the pie restaurant, you've got the Chevron here, Rock Springs. Now I'm pulling in because the Chevron, I did see a Chevron station, obviously, mentioned a few times. They've got CCTV footage. You've got parking at the back, and I'm pretty sure you could probably park it. Let me go to the parking, let's see what you can park. Yeah, you can park all sorts here. So, I don't know if you can park for a long term, but as you can see, you can park. It's car parking, obviously. Let me just go all the way around. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Last time when I came to this area, I was feeling like, ooh, you know, I feel like I'm in a place where everything's all pulled together. It's all almost like it's all come together, and that's why I've been so focused on the perpetrators. You could literally blend in here temporarily. While you're stopping off, fueling up, you could be having a bite to eat. I'm wondering if there was in New River around 7:11 a.m. and then arrived in this area about 8:18. You don't know if they're acquainted with anybody at these places. You don't know if one or more of them are working at these places. And that's the restaurant, obviously. Just pull in here. You've got the Rock Shop, Rock Springs, the Pie Box. You've got, I mean, there's a few little bits and bobs, you know, there's a few things you could, but you could just be, you could look like a passing through tourist, or you're just stopping off here without standing out, put it that way. Now, like I say, who's to say, it's only a theory, but who's to say one of them got dropped off here, or one of them works here, or lives in this area, or stays in this area, and if there is an over-the-road trucker, they may have been dropped, he may have dropped one of them off at Carter's Lakes, where it's possible, which will make more sense, where you would park a big rig, which most of them, a lot of them do. How do we know one of the perpetrators don't work here? I'm trying to find a vehicle that may stay, it may be parked here long term, that may be of interest, but welcome to Rock Springs. So I want to park up myself now anyway, because I really want to tap in. I now got that weird throbbing, which means something's coming through. It's my pineal glands. Okay, I'm going to do a walk around. Let me just the highlighter out. Again, it's just, I'm going to go for each report and show you the points in sights I was picking up on. Again, the possibility of interstate movement involving New Mexico. Transportation coordination. Body concealment logistics, which I've just shown you is a possibility. Lookout participation, which I'm going to be taking to the next point, which would be part of the organised criminal behaviour. Trafficking concepts, coordinated movements, operational networks, possible cartel references, because you don't know. You just don't know who's connected to who these days. So, remote terrain, concealment, cabins, wooded terrain, national parks, forest regions, remote locations for a shallow grave. The starting point of New River could host that. Let me grab the... So, stagecoach, CCMP89. Oh God, it just gets so hot so fast. So, I'm going to need the aircon. Now, Stagecoach Road. Well, I've just been on the North Stagecoach Road, and I'm going to be heading towards the South Stagecoach Road, but Stagecoach Road. Marco and Juarez impressions, so there could be two names or part of the same name. Again, rural desert terrain. Now, I did see a prescription bottle of, I did see, like when I was connected to Nancy, I was kind of seeing one of her prescription bottles. Here's the other thing, you don't know if she grabbed a prescription bottle and, I'm just going to assume, I'm not saying it's correct, but along the way it either got lost or dropped off or even discarded. So, but I felt like I was seeing it at the side of a road, and then so I don't want to completely rule that out. Now, obviously, campground environments. Well, I'm in right now. You've got Rock Springs campground that's under construction. You've got private campgrounds. There is campgrounds. I've just shown you one. There's all types of campgrounds, but there's also private RV places too. Surveillance camera possibilities. All of these businesses here have surveillance cameras. So if you're looking for a specific vehicle or specific people that are possibly already under the radar of possible suspects they're looking for, you may see them in these areas heading north around those time of the morning. So specifically 7-Eleven, 8-18, all the way up through Corders Lakes, which I felt is where, when I was seeing the weird like pilot, and I was thinking, okay, and then I hear trucking. I'm wondering if they dropped one of the guys off there to pick up a big rig. He may have been in over the road, which is parked there, which would, and that's right on Stagecoach Road, off Stagecoach Trail, but it's still also known as Stagecoach Road. So, dirt road disposal theory, obviously. CCTV investigative report of potential. Campground behaviour interpretations, which I explained. If you stay in, my interpretations, if he's trying to stay off the grid, just literally that was off the grid, and you wanted to stay out the way of people, and you wanted to just kind of move around without, you know, you could do that in those sort of campsites. And yeah, I don't think you can stay for I think you can stay for like 2 weeks, I believe, the maximum, but you don't know if they move around or, and again, vehicle movement corridor, and, you know, my analysis of that. Again, Stagecoach Road. Identifiable rural corridor, which is kind of what I've done, going for those rural areas. Dirt roads, ranch land, cabins. Lots of those. Remote structures, camping areas. I just took those, covers all of those, just where we're still in that area. These would be classed as low traffic movements. Okay, so I just went inside to the Rock Springs restaurant. Now you've got two areas. You've got like a bar area, but they both sell food. There are some servers in there. One of them has a similar description. However, in the pie box, where you can buy pie, and like there's a server, a young lady in there that looks very similar to the slightly bigger bill. That was interesting. She looked quite similar. I'd be intrigued to know what car she's got. Grabbed a free I'm going to look through, just see if there's any weird stuff that stands out. I mean, you've got lakes here and everything. Knoll Lake, Harley Lake. These are a lot of campgrounds. So, now you've got a lot of transient movement here. You've got a lot of people coming and going. You don't know. I'd be intrigued to know where the nearest car wash is, but you don't know if there's, I'm intrigued to know if there's a cornerstone. Could be a particular type of business. There's a strong pull here. And obviously the CCTV footage inside the restaurants too, so okay, let me just put that on there. So, I'm going to continue. I need to find a way back to... So now I'm going to be heading towards the rest area, which I will also obviously stop and use the bathroom, because I want to see how easy it would be to sort of discard something. Then I want to sort of take a look at the lookout and see what's, you know, because when I was there last time, I was feeling like, hang on a minute, there's like an old style sort of sundial clock. You've got, but the lookout point, when I was looking into the distance, there was a lot of flat land. There was a lot of, obviously in the distance I was seeing. That could be interesting, because I don't know why I was pulled to look there, but again, these are possible points of interest. This could be, I could have been seeing what they were looking at when they stopped to use the bathrooms as a lookout point, but again, before they headed on to probably Carter's Lake. So I am going to, as you can see, now you can see it's an incredibly busy place, this area, so there's a lot of people. You could easily come through here and just temporarily stay off the radar and grab something to eat, you know, use the bathroom and facilities and stuff, but I'm looking for specific vehicles as well, but you don't know, because they're probably just transient vehicles anyway. So, okay, now, so again, that's the chevron. I would definitely want to, if I was an investigator, I'd want to hyper focus on any sort of CCTV footage. If I was looking for specific times, a window of time. Is the construction. This is the private rock springs to the left. I mean, there's a lot of flat land, and you know, it's, I don't get a good feeling from it at all. I really don't. And there's cabins just back there. You've got cabins just over there. You've got just got to be careful, they're not going to pull out on me. So now we're going through Black Canyon. motels too. The other private RV park is in this area too. I'm just going to run in and drop these books off quickly if the door's actually open. Okay. Just trying to multitask. Right. So there's a lot of, like I say, on this route alone, just some of these businesses, there's a lot of storage places to, you know, where you can park RVs and cars and trucks, you know, semi-trucks down there by the looks of it. So who's to say these criminals, and there's CCTV cameras here right on this business, right off Food Bank, Foothills Food Bank. Who's to say they're not these criminals and these perpetrators haven't rented spaces on this route to park up with different vehicles? And again, some of them have 24-hour access, so if they needed to get into that, there's a big rig down there, a semi-truck. So if you could park a semi-truck, if you was over the road and you was constantly living off the road, there's motels around here where you can just take a shower and stuff like that, but park up your vehicle. And you could also use that to swap, exchange your vehicle, do you know what I mean? As long as you've got a parking spot that you pay for, you can just switch vehicles, can't you? So it's interesting to note. That's what I would do. I mean, if you're a criminal and you're working for organised crime, you can afford to pay for storage places, spots along the way on your routes that you take when you're performing your criminal activity. But again, if you're constantly having to stay on the road, you want to be near closer to food, you want to be closer to motels so you can take showers, you want to be close to being able to drop off your vehicles and exchange them for others and things like this. And then your points of interest where you're hiding stuff, where you're not, if you have storage units too, who's to say they don't stop at these storage units to grab their stash of what it is that they distribute, drugs and all kinds of crap. You would use these sort of facilities. You don't know if they've got storage units full of fucking drugs or anything, weapons, guns, ammo, anything on this route and place. You know, it just feels like God, it just feels heavy. See what's coming in. I just said it's the safest route. Now I'm going to continue on to Corders Lakes, which is I believe is where they may have filled up vehicles, dropped off, picked up a possible semi-truck. So that is where I feel like, and then obviously the movements continue. So, but this is a small town, obviously. Oh look, the Masons. What do you know? So now I've got to get back onto the I-17 and continue. I could have gone left, I'll go right. Continue. Now apparently there is a store, like some sort of store around here. Look at all these, there's lots of RV storage here, but apparently I heard, like I don't really like gossip or anything like that, but I hear there's a dodgy shop here in long enough, even having connections in Utah. I don't feel like they stay static in one place for too long at all. So all of the areas I've discussed, even just around here too, like there's a construction going on here to my right. You need to look at the criminal, you know, if there's people that are registered or company or businesses that are registered. But again, if there are any criminals in the system that I know to these sort of areas or have acquainted with these areas for people or anything like that, these are the things that, and again, especially if they're well known on the radar of like drug trafficking or anything really extreme, you know, criminal activity, behaviour. I mean, these are the areas you want to zone in, if only just to rule them out, you know. And again, I felt, because I was hearing these criminals are known to the authorities, they're well known to the authorities. So if I'm doing a full movement pattern, I'm following a movement pattern of the perpetrators, and you've got criminals or part of organisations that are also use this corridor for movement, then we're clearly on the same wavelengths, you know. So that's Occam's razor right there, isn't it? You know. I just feel like this strange pull. It's quite magnetic now, because I've been connected to the perpetrators for months now, basically, and there's a magnetisation to the energy frequencies. It's just like a guidance of following, and everything is really strange. But I feel like I need to be on the main road, but I need to stay off the radar. That's how I'm feeling. So again, you've got okay, well, you know, they could have gone. I feel like I'm looking at Flagstaff specifically, because I feel that's the route. But then obviously getting to Flagstaff, you could go from Sedona, which made me feel, that's why I felt the pull to Sedona, because they probably went through Sedona, or on that, especially the hotel where I stayed, off the I-17, basically, just on the outskirts of Sedona. That's why I feel like that may be where they passed through. They may have stopped there to eat, to get a bite to eat or anything, to fuel up there as well. And because I was really drawn to that area anyway, so this Bumblebee Crown King, I may drive into Crown King on the way back, because the lookout point, the rest area that I'm going to stop at, across, you can see Crown King from across the lookout point, and there is a lot of ground construction going on there. There is flat pasture land, there's cabins. Again, this may be relevant, because when they stood looking out over that lookout point while they were stopped and taking a break or whatever, they may have been looking at the very same thing I was seeing, and maybe seeing what they were looking at, seeing through their eyes, basically. And these are the things I'm having to notice and, you know, obviously write down, and everything has meaning, and the symbolism and everything. Oh good Lord, that heart just zoned in for food. Jeez, straight in for the kill. Oh good Lord. So barriers on the side of the road. If you remember, I even stopped at one down south of Tucson, where I wanted to get out and see if they were, see the throwing any discarded, well, who's to say the way it discarded evidence and thrown it over these barriers while they're driving, because that's what it felt like. Somebody was just, it's like somebody, the vehicle was moving, and it was like the passenger, you know, I don't know if a passenger or it could have been the other, I don't know, I can't say for sure, but they were discarding over the barriers. It was really weird. Like, I'll show you one coming up. Like, if I'm sat in the passenger seat in the front, let's just say for example, to the right of me, you've got these barriers right here. Who's to say the way discarding throwing stuff over these areas? Because they're down in little ravines now, and then there's another one over here. So that's what it felt like. And you would naturally, if you were trying to disguise stuff, these would be the way you were doing it, especially if the road is empty, early hours, there's not much traffic. Nobody would really see you doing it. And you want everything out of the way, out of your vehicle as much as possible, just in case you were to get pulled by the police or anything, or were they in stolen vehicles? Did they steal a vehicle? Who's to say? Did they move out of the Nancy's area with one vehicle and then steal another vehicle to stay off the radar? So there's, again, these barriers are kind of everywhere, but you can easily, like I say, people say it's not, can't dump stuff. That would be a little bit more, I wouldn't do it there, because if anybody's coming in these areas to do cleanups, that would be easy to find anything discarded. But discarding stuff into the bottom of the ravines and stuff, that probably are that people don't go to at all, or very often. Yeah, that would be more sensible. So, and now we're hitting more flatter land now, which is kind of interesting, because I was seeing a lot more flat land. That's when I was feeling that real strange pull north of me. As soon as I felt like I needed to go north of me, I was real confused, like, why not Tucson? Why am I going north of me? Because then I was following the movement patterns of the perpetrators, and that's when that really, the full emphasis on following their patterns, now their trail, was the way they were leaving Dodge, basically, getting out of Arizona, basically. Have they got connections to New Mexico? One may have connections to Utah, and the other one may have turned, you know, I'll go to New Mexico this way. They may have, you know, it's weird. So now we're stopping at Sunset Point, exit 252. This is the scenic view, vending machines, bathrooms. Obviously I'm going to be using the bathroom. I just want to see where it'd be easy to leave stuff or discard anything. I mean, even right down to taking a wash or anything. Did I just accidentally miss my... Oh, there's the... Oh, I did. Oh, for the love of God, I did. I just missed it. I just saw it as well. I missed it. Sunset Point. That's fine. I can do it on the way back. That's not a problem. I've got to come back that way anyway, so... There's a cooler right on the side of the bloody road and everything. That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to litter these places, but people do. So I'm going to take us now onto Carter's Lake. Obviously I'm going to fuel up, but so they would have got off at 252, the exit, to get onto, to go to that view, sunset view. So, but now you can see the difference in terrain. The terrain's changing. Even though we're on higher elevation, the land's a lot flatter. It's not. So I felt like I was seeing a lot of this weird, strange in the visual. I felt, I feel like that reminds me of just going north, and that's why I felt the pull to go north. interesting place to stop. Guthrie National Monument. Right, okay. This is... I feel like I'm in that Sahoya Park again, strangely, where I'm just... You can take a walk, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I'm just pulling in to do a U-turn. So Badger Springs Recreational Point, this is where we're at now. So there's a trail, walking trail. You could get out your vehicle and you could literally just take a walk. And could this be an area where it's strange, because when I was in Cambo, which is reminds me of this just a little bit, not off the highway obviously, but off a road, a main road that you would need to go south on into Tucson, but even when I was there, I felt like that area may be looked at just for stuff that's been hidden. There could be hide drugs or anything in these areas. But they leave markers so they know where to retrieve them. So that's to keep them on them or in the vehicles when they're trafficking. Well, who's to say this isn't another one of those points of interest that they slightly hide and bury drugs or money or anything? And then what do? Drop off what they need to do, hide it, and get back on the highway, get back on the road. And then vice versa, when they're coming back, they need to retrieve it as they're coming back. I'm clearly going somewhere here with this theory, so I'm going to keep going. So there could be these parks, these sort of parks, even the one in Sahoya, just like that, off the roads. Straight off the road, hide what you need to hide, and then retrieve it at another time. Don't keep anything on you. So, oh god, now I just got. So there could be something in this area. Now this little barrier, you might be looking at over the other side of it though, but I can't stop here. So, but this area, there could be areas that need to be looked in for. Certain types of drugs or anything, money, hidden, buried, slightly buried in shallow graves, but there's no way to retrieve them. And there may be constant stop-off points like this. So I would, if I was a drug trafficker, I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably be creating my own freaking drug hidden, hiding corridor, basically. And I would mark certain markers, and like if you were hiking, if you're hiking towards it, well, no one's going to think you're not doing anything dodgy because you're just hiking in a hiking area until you need to start digging up what you need. But if you use these sort of routes regularly, from Mexico all the way up into Colorado and Utah, which we know there's a huge drug problem with fentanyl and everything. You can take advantage of the elements, don't get me wrong. You'd have to be careful because the heat's a little bit different, but depending on what you're burying. And that's why I felt like they lost something, they buried something. And then when they went to retrieve it, it's exactly what I was feeling. They went to retrieve it, and they couldn't find where they put it, so I could feel one of them getting really frustrated. You've got bloody Basin Road here. money traffickers, weapons traffic, anything. Human traffickers. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be hard to hide a body in the desert. Obviously, we know that's a normal thing. Again, I keep seeing these. Again, U-Hauls. Right, okay, here's another theory. And there's a white van. White van pulling a U-Haul. That's 4 U-Hauls I've seen now, right? How do we know these drug traffickers and human traffickers and whatever freaking traffickers they are, drug trafficker, weapons traffickers, how do we know they're not using U-Hauls to drive, basically mobilize and take them out? Because nobody's going to think twice about stopping a U-Haul. They'll think, oh, someone's relocating, right? Obviously. How do you know there's not something else going on and they're using these U-Hauls other than just abandoning them when they've got what they needed, or retrieved what they needed, or hidden what they needed, and just abandoned them? Because those 2 I saw earlier just felt like they were being abandoned. How do we know they're not using these rental vehicles to distribute and use it for the logistics of their fucking whatever it is that they're basically trafficking? So, and obviously now I'm just on a dirt track, but here it just feels like you could hide and bury stuff, possibly within rocks, formations or anything. So just something to think about. There's a lot of weird, you know, a lot of boulders here. Again, you're not going to go too far in, but you want to make your markers known, that you can identify them when you want to come and retrieve your stuff. Now, if this is what, and again, because I'm being guided here as well, is if this is the sort of stuff these perpetrators are involved in, I would not even be remotely surprised by any of this. Because if I was a criminal mind like that, that's what I would do. I wouldn't use my own vehicles to, you know, I would use different vehicles. I'm going to go back up now. I don't feel the need to be going. I think I've made my point of this area. And then get right back onto the I-17. You don't know if they're retrieving. I mean, there's 3 trucks over there right now. They're pulling trailers, obviously. Now, obviously, they've probably got ATVs. So this is probably an ATV route. Well, who's to say they're not? You know, they might need to use an ATV to go to the points where they bury stuff, bury drugs, bury money. You don't know what the hell they're burying. Burying weapons and just sort of retrieving them, and then that's kind of where you put your ATV. So, I mean, that's what normal people would do, but who's to say they're not thinking slightly the same? We'll just use, they may keep a vehicle out here static all the time, or an ATV too, just kind of like locked down. But it's interesting that there's a freaking, that white van right there with a pulling a, but there's no, where are they? It's very possible but that one's been abandoned too. There's nobody in it or anything. So it's like the trailer, I'm like, wow. Do they just sort of use these rental vans? And again, you're not really going to stop a U-Haul really for no reason, unless you had a reason, unless they were speeding. You go, oh, people are just relocating, someone's moving, that's it, you know. And then you've got Quill Ridge RV Park up here of 262. So again, these are the possible RV parks, private RV parks I was sort of seeing as well. Sporadic, they're out here, but they're sporadic, you know, they're sporadic too. Then obviously coming up to a Corders Lake service station. So now I'm pulling into, I'm going to fill up, but I'm going to drive around. I'll fill up first, and then I'm going to drive around where the trucks are based up, you know, they sort of like park up and everything. And I want to show you the other points that I picked up, because this is where I started feeling like, hang on a minute, there's another stagecoach road. Well, I'm on a stagecoach trail, and I already mentioned the Parlots and the Loves right here. You've got your Chevron, you've got your 76, you've got your electric vehicle, another electric vehicle charging stations. To Mexico. So right now you have the Chevron, the Mexican Grill, you've got the McDonald's, there's a Family Dollar there, you've obviously, and you've got Pilot. Right back at the back of Pilot there's a motel back there as well for the truckers. Let me just do a little tour first. Where you would park your truckers, your big rigs. Like I was here when I came out right here. This is where you probably can park them up for long term, a lot extended. If you're on the road, you know what I mean. And then you've got a restaurant here and a motel. So they could be staying in these motels. Let me go to the motel. See if anything stands out. I can get to it from here. Can I get, is that a little road? No semi-trucks in here. Okay, so Corders Junction Motel RV Park. Are you serious right now? Okay. This could be where they stop and actually rest before continuing. You got RVs, fifth wheels, people are staying at, yeah, this is their little park. So you got the 50s diner there, and then you got the motels here. I mean, this is just literally off the highway, that's it. Let me just see if there's anything else that stands out about this area that's making me feel like you might find your perpetrators have stayed here. They may stay here regularly. There's a camera, CCTV camera. Obviously you got the maintenance place here. I just want to. So then obviously you've got all of these RVs. Who's to say they're not living in an RV and then they just sort of stop at these random places, these random RV places, and obviously if they want a shower and stuff like that, then they have to go in and use the motel, but it's definitely worth looking into. It's another point of interest. Spaceship with aliens, which is right up my alley. So we follow the exit. Oh geez, so yeah, you've got all of these. I mean, these kind of look like they stay a while, so then you got Loves, which is just further back there. There's construction going on here too. So you don't know if these are construction workers that they work here in these areas, road construction or anything. That might be who the perpetrators are. That might be one of the perpetrators. Might be a construction worker. So, but if you was to park a big rig, you would probably park it here. And you don't know if they're parking another vehicle in the, I don't know, in the motel car park. They may get a room, or they may have a lot that they already pay for, and that's why they just leave the car. No one's going to think twice. And another little U-Haul there. I've never seen so many U-Hauls at all in one place. Even here on the highway, I'm like, I've never seen so many U-Hauls in one period of time. I need to fill up my tank now. So now I'm at the pilot. I've just fueled up. I just want to take you around the road that takes you to the Loves. That's important because this is the particular road, which is Stagecoach Trail, also known as South Stagecoach Road. This is the trail, this is the road that has all of these. It's like a business complex, and obviously truckers parked up here and everything. Even here they can still park here, and then obviously on this side park the cars. So you don't know if they, when they pick up their truck, they park the car and leave the car there. I don't know what the rules are for how long people can stay there, stay here and anything. I mean, I have to look into the rules, but I need to park up. Overnight parking permitted. No camping. Okay, so we know overnight parking is permitted. So maybe not long term then. Maybe not for too long, because they may get obviously monitored. So let me grab you and take you with me. point I wanted to sort of emphasize on that I felt was ironic, because like I say, I started in New River, and I was mentioning the road runner, and I thought, well, you know, what is, apart from the animal, the bear, but what I'm saying is, what is a road runner? It's an over the road truckie. You're running the road, you're over the road, so I just felt like symbolically that every message had a meaning behind it, and it just feels like Roadrunner. Yeah, I do. I feel 99% sure. I mean, obviously I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, you know, no one can get everything right, but I feel, and just due to the movement patterns and everything, it's very possible that, again, here in trucking, emphasizing on where I went to today in Carter's Lakes, and you know, the truckers galore, especially for, you know, over the road travel. So an over the road truckie is a road runner. Now, what is a trafficker? Someone who's especially if they're over the, you know, they're on the road trafficking. They're also a road runner. They're a drug runner. They're a trafficking runner. They're whatever the hell they're running it. But if they're on the road a lot, all the time, I would probably call them a road runner. And I'm just road runner right now, right next to me, to the left of me, as I'm pulling back onto New River Road. So sometimes just little messages, and not to mention the fact that the massive wash here in New River is huge, so that is a big wash. That might need looking in, searching, to be honest, and that goes right all the way through, all the way up. So, but yeah, so roadrunner would be somebody that, a criminal that is constantly on the road, moving around, distributing. But also another road runner is also would be referred to as a truckie, an over the road truckie. So even though sometimes it can come in symbolically, just seeing things is like, oh, interesting. And that's why I feel like it kind of starts, whatever they were discarding or doing, or starting to get rid of, possibly started in New River, not far from the road runner.